Good evening and welcome to Sunday Politics on Trust TV, your destination for discussions on politics, policy and governance. I'm Hamza Idris. Tonight, we delve into the growing outrage among the opposition political class, members of the civil society and other concerned Nigerians over the spate of arrest of non-vocal critics of President Bola Tinubu administration by security agencies on alleged trumped-up charges. The recent arrest of a professor of hematology, oncology and bone marrow transplantation and former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme, Usman Yusuf, by EFCC operatives on allegations of corruption days after a businessman and self-assigned whistleblower, Mahdi Shehu, was whisked away by the DSS, has generated concerns over perceived crackdown on dissenting voices in the country. The raids are also coming few days after a prominent lawyer dropped charges against a government critic, Dele Farotimi, who was arraigned over alleged criminal defamation and in the process spent days in custody. We also have the recent arraignment of a publisher and controversial activist, Omoyele Sore, which has sparked debate around the shrinking public space and what some people see as affront on civil freedom and liberties in democratic society. On Sunday Politics tonight, we are joined by Barrister Solomon Dalung, a former Minister of Youth and Sports, a vocal critic of this government as well as anti-democratic tendencies. He's here in the studio. We also have a non-civil rights activist, Ibrahim Wala, who joins us via Zoom from Kano. They join us to dissect and provide context to growing outrage over alleged crackdown on critical voices in the nation's democratic space. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome and good evening, Nigerians.
All right. Hello, I hope you are with us, Barrister, also. From Kano, yes. Hello, Mr. Wala, are you with us? Yes, welcome to the program. I can see some lack in the internet connectivity, but I'm sure it will stabilize as we progress in the program. And viewers, you will also have the opportunity to comment on some of the issues that will be raised in the course of the program. But before we delve into the conversation, here are some major developments in the polity. The federal government says plans are ongoing to increase electricity tariffs over the next few months. It, however, said that the planned increase needed to be balanced by subsidies for less affluent electricity users. Bloomberg quoted the special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on energy, Olu Vahejian, as giving this hint at the African Heads of State Energy Summit in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where Nigeria presented a $32 billion plan to expand electricity connection by 2030. According to the presidential aide, Nigeria is trying to resolve the transition to a cost-efficient but cost-reflective tariff to attract private investors. And on a side note, at least 30 people have been burned to death in an auto crash which occurred on the Onipetesi area of Mile 49 on the Ore-Lagos Road in Odigbo local government area of Ondo State. Daily Trust reports that the tragic accident occurred at the weekend when the drivers of two commercial buses heading for the eastern part of the country drove against the traffic and had a head-on collision bursting into flames. Several eyewitnesses said the passengers were burned beyond recognition, while two others died on their way to the hospital. Our condolences to the families of the deceased. Yes, Barrister and former Honorable Minister. Let's start with the sad news, maybe briefly. Accidents, it's like life is turning to something in Nigeria, almost on daily basis. Before it was 2, 3, but now dozens and all that.
My eyes are filled with tears as I send condolences to victims of this man-made, unfortunate incidents. Of course, if the roads were good, the drivers would have not decided to drive the opposite side. It's because of the bad roads and bad governance.
Occasioned by gridlock.
Yeah. So this now led to what we had today, and over 40 Nigerians have lost their lives. I send my heartfelt condolences first to Nigerians on this very sad moment. And at this moment of grief, I also stand with the family. I ask God in His infinite mercy to condole them and repose the souls of these innocent Nigerians who some of them might have even died with hunger. It's unfortunate, and indeed it's unfortunate.
Yes, all right. Ibrahim Wala, what do you have to say on this sad incident in the southwest, where over 30 people, roasted away?
It's quite unfortunate, and first and foremost, personally, my prayers to those that are actually deceased. And for that, it's sad, and to the families, we grieve together with them. It's unfortunate that some of these reasons, like my senior colleague there mentioned, that yes, some of these things are man-made factors that result to these situations that we always record on a daily basis. It's sad. We pray that the families behind will have the mind to bear the loss.
All right, thank you. Yes, Barrister, now the elephant in the room. The news that broke today is planned additional tariff hike for electricity. Were you surprised when you heard of it?
Well,
even though it wasn't set in Nigeria, it was in far-flung Dar es Salaam.
Yeah, I am not surprised, and I'm even expecting more. So I wouldn't be surprised by anything this government will do. Because, on the day of the inauguration, the president did not pretend that he is here to unleash IMF-driven policies that have inhuman faces, and that the Nigerians are just victims. They're not going to be beneficiaries. Those who will live to probably see might be servants of these political elites and their children.
I'm not one of them, if you say political elites.
Yeah, no. The definition of political elite is relative. Yeah. I'm called an elite by virtue of the fact that I once served. And I spent 3.5 years there as a minister. And I'm qualified to be an elite. I don't know how we deploy the use of our semantics. So I don't see myself as one, and because I am from a very poor background. My parents died as poor people. I am not a rich person. I don't have money. Of course, if you are referring to access to education, which I have, maybe that may be a partially acceptable definition of the elite. But let me come back to what has happened. You just look at how the government dramatizes governance. In faraway Dar es Salaam, they presented a budget of development which was never discussed on the soil of Nigeria. The beneficiary Nigerians were not even taken into confidence. And then in a faraway country there, they went there to create an impression as if they have been doing something. And they rolled out a very bogus plan that did not even disclose the source of funding and how realistic it will be in a faraway Dar es Salaam. If you call any Nigerian today, he's only hearing it for the first time. Governance is not like that. Governance develops from within, and that is why in international relations, you talk about domestic foreign policy, domestic policies influencing foreign policies.
Okay, now when you say you are not surprised by the planned tariff hike, they said it will be cost reflective but taking into cognizance the downtrodden, that it will not affect them. You accept that excuse from them?
How will I accept the earlier excuses they have given had it materialized? I mean, the president, while rolling out the subsidy is gone statement, came up with the same cost-reflecting measures, renewed hope. On that day, I told Nigerians they should buckle up for renewed hopelessness. And here we are today. Nigerians are very hopeless. So any statement from this government must be taken with a pinch of salt.
Do you foresee the tariff coming down later, as they are suggesting, including fuel subsidy?
The government is playing pranks with Nigerians.
How do you mean?
This fuel increase will get to a time. The government has no intention at all to develop Nigeria. So it's going to play political pranks.
This sounds like an allegation.
No, I'm not finished. Okay. It's not an issue of an allegation. I have facts to back up. I mean, from the antecedent of a person, you can predict. I am a Marxist. So I am only predicting based on the antecedent. So what they are going to do now is, getting to the middle of this year, the president will emerge and say, I've listened to the cries of Nigerians. Petrol, we have introduced 50% subsidy. So it will come down to around 500. And then the attack dogs and their cyber propagandists will begin to say, you see, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Then they will come over and say, because of the impact of the review of tariff on Nigerians, we have also reviewed it. So they will keep bringing it down so that they will classically condition the minds of Nigerians that they have suddenly turned born-again politicians. And they are taking governance seriously. This is just a ploy to lure Nigerians in anticipation of 2027. So Nigerians will be deceived. And you will have some army of others descending on those who had been very vocal with the government and will be given so many names. And maybe then they will come up with another better approach to how to crack down on voices of dissent, so that at that time, we will now, those of us who are criticizing the government naturally will be criminals. Because we have been saying the government has not been doing anything, now it has done something, so we will be criminals. So when you lock up all these voices, then the agenda of 2027 is set. So there is nothing to believe in what they are doing. Let us believe Prophet Daniel Wala. When Daniel Wala was with us and was working to undermine Atiku, he made a statement. He said, even if you give Tinubu 30 years, nothing will come out of it. It's a prophetic statement.
And people should not throw it away.
I have. In fact, it's kept in my very precious aspect of the library. Each time I look into it. So there is nothing from the prophecy of Daniel Wala, the special advisor now of Tinubu on policy, that we should expect anything from this government, even if we give them 30 years.
All right. Yes. Let me hear from you. You have heard the former minister saying it's like a prank the government is playing on Nigerians with this increment in electricity, increment in fuel, but maybe towards the middle of this year, they will start bringing the prices down so that Nigerians will believe that, okay, after all, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Are you on the same page, or you have a contrary opinion to this?
I will amplify what you said in a different probably perspective. But then I will also start by way of questioning the seriousness and the commitment of the government, especially on electricity. First, let's look at the generation. Ever since the president has taken over the position, was there any efforts specifically that has yielded results? This is the question that we should be asking. What was the megawatts that we were producing, we were generating, and we were distributing? That has to come to the band A, which is the highest, which is the most costly. Now, looking into that, have we considered why the price of the tariff is so high, and at the same time, is there enough supply of electricity to probably the production sector or the manufacturing sector? Now, just tomorrow, the common man, where he lives, does he see electricity? Now, we have seen recently the level of the vandalization of electricity installations all over the country. Now, is the government concerned about how to fix these problems? Because the tariff is an outcome of the infrastructure around the electricity sector generally. So if you are not getting the production, or you're not generating, what are you talking about selling? For you to even think of incrementing the price? This is the question. So it's obvious that what the senior premier has said over time is actually more like a prank, sincerely. It does not appeal to serious citizens. Even the international community, the information is out there on the internet. They know rather, the true situation of things in the country. It's no more a story. The AI, artificial intelligence, is there to bring the history, right? It can curate all information as it were and as it is. So you don't need to go and be fooling yourself out there, expecting your audience to actually take you serious. I think honestly, it's nothing to write home about. It's unfortunate.
All right, thank you very much, Ibrahim Wala. Yes, Comrade, former minister, 2027 an alleged crackdown on dissent. Tomorrow will be exactly, of course, 5 days that Professor Usman Yusuf will be in custody of the EFCCO at Kuje prison, over charges of involving his family, and then, of course, also augmenting or skyrocketing contracts worth billions of naira. What is your take on this?
Well, it's anticipated. The last time I came here, you will realize or observe today that I'm looking different.
Yes.
I'm wearing something red.
Red, yes.
Yeah, so I'm just sending signal that the struggle has gotten to a critical stage.
Okay, that is now the import of your output.
Yeah, the struggle now has gotten to a critical stage. You review the crackdown, rightly, starting with Delhi, down to Shore, to Mahdi, to Professor Yusuf now. I have already sent notices to the struggle community that everybody should just get his detention bag ready.
Have you put yours ready?
Mine is ready. My bag is ready to walk into detention anytime, any day. And the reason is very simple. This government is intolerant with the voices of dissent. And these people that had been arrested, they love the president and they love this government and Nigeria more than even the president himself. That's why they are putting out to the president, see, this is not right, get it right. Nobody has done anything surreptitiously to undermine the government, no. We are peace-loving people. And that is why when they arrest any of us and they roll out charges, we allow the justice process to run and we go for application of bail. Where bail is denied unjustifiably, then definitely the option left for the struggle community is to roll out our tongues and begin to express our grievances. So when Professor Yusuf, when Mahdi was arrested, and there was voices from the younger ones, do something about it. I said, no, I am an experienced comrade. I've been in this business for over 40 years. I said, let's watch. We don't know where they took him to. We don't know who even picked him. that armed people came and picked him, we should not begin to accuse government.
It could be
non-state actors dressed in military or security regalias pick people. So let's know who will own up for the arrest. And the DSS own up. And then we get our lawyers and said, okay, go for application of bail, which is a right. They did, and then they took him to court and took him to prison immediately. And we went to, the difference in what the approach in Mahdi's arrest was that they took him to a court that has no jurisdiction.
Magistrate.
Very good, the magistrate court. So the magistrate court, lacking jurisdiction, cannot entertain application for bail. So we headed for the High Court to enforce its fundamental human right as provided for by the Constitution. And of course, we got bail for him. And after bailing him, they came back again and abducted him. And we were ready that, okay, the prison will be too small to accommodate, the defiance community. But they granted him bail. So for Professor Yusuf, they have raised allegations of corruption.
Yes.
We are peace-loving Nigerians, and we love and welcome the application of the rule of law.
So tomorrow, most likely, you will be in the court also to witness the parading
of course, now that we know the court they are taking him to, we will definitely show solidarity with him, while we also go for the application of bail. But subsequent development will determine. But the arrest of these comrades and members of the struggle community is condemnably, is shameful. It undermines the integrity of democracy. They have done anything wrong. But if you are accusing Professor Usman for corruption, awarding contract to his family members, well, I know that the president is an honest man. By next week, the DSS will pick Shea because he is a beneficiary of the 17 trillion contract awarded to Shagori, which he is a director in that company. So it now means...
Allegedly.
Eh?
Allegedly.
There are papers of the company. What is allegedly? You people continue to dodge. What is allegedly? These are public facts.
But we don't want to be picked because...
Okay, you don't want to be picked, but you are not the one making the statement. I'm the one making the statement. So, he should also be picked by DSS because we now know that anybody who award contract to his family or benefit will be picked by the DSS. And then we will also want the National Security Advisor. Because when he was chairman of EFCC, there were people, he named them as very, very corrupt. Where are the documents? He's working with some of them now. We will want that report, because the public statement he made is on record, that please, the EFCC and the DSS, we support the fight against corruption, but look for these people. Look for some of these people sitting in the National Assembly, where when I was in government, former governors, Magu went to their lodges and recover boxes of dollars. Please, those cases should be on. Some of them were invited, they were sick. Now we are seeing them very strong and able. Please, invite them, because the fight against corruption should have no boundaries. It should not be used. It should not be used as a sword, but rather it should be used as a shield.
All right, Ibrahim Wala, I want you to come in here. Of course, it is now over 8 years when Professor Yusuf left the NHIS. But here we are, allegations of budget IT, budget for the IT from 4.97 billion to 8.7 billion, and then approving payments beyond his limit. These are some of the allegations, that he also included his family. All these things happened, of course, over 8 years ago. Is there a nexus between what is happening now and then his activity as an activist, condemning the government, calling it out, and all that? Or you think, of course, corruption case can be there for 50 years, but people who want to really fight it can excavate and then address it appropriately?
Yes, your last statement actually points out clearly the intent, the motive. We're all Nigerians. We've been on this for quite some time. We've been involved in exposing corruption. A lot of us have actually been victims of suppressions or victims of persecutions and all that. The reality around the purported arrests, or probably, yes, arrest rather, by EFCC is a tactical way of sending a message to the likes of Solomon Dalung. For those of them that have been in the government, is to say, look, you better keep quiet or we come after you. We all know very well that Professor Yusuf was one of the finest in government. I must say this because this is the first individual that made it very clear to report the anomalies, the corruption he found, which he wrote to EFCC. I was privileged to see that document because I also wrote a petition with our organization, one of the civil service organizations and civil society organization I was with as a dead. We got enough document, we carried out our own investigation. I can tell you from the number of the banks that were exposed, and it was the sole effort of Professor Yusuf that resulted to that. And it was the same IT that he has been accused of actually probably approving their contract. Because what he did was to do a data collection. He has to first put the infrastructure on ground. And with that IT infrastructure, he was able to conduct the entire process of checking what has been on ground, what are the controls that has been going on before now. And it was at that point that Prof discovered that, okay, so the beneficiaries' contributions for the scheme were being housed in different banks. In the first place, what was the process that actually granted the banks to own up to keeping these monies? And a single bank, let me say a single bank was housing billions, not just hundreds of millions, billions. Now, the total amount of money that was being mentioned was over 100 billion. And funny enough, he did not just write to the FCC, he wrote to the presidency. And I was privileged also to see that document. There was this particular incident where he wrote to the president, mentioning certain amounts up to 12 billion that was meant for the scheme, NHIS, but under the Minister of Finance, the then Ministry of Finance, the then Minister of Finance, I think it was a lady, who he actually wrote to her, and he was invited. And finally, you know what happened?
No.
It was quite disturbing to realize that the minister was aware of that 12 billion that was actually diverted within the government. When he wrote to the president, the then president, which President Muhammad Buhari, the president discovered that yes, that money was actually moved from NHI's accounts into other government agencies. Now, these are the kind of things that Professor fought within when he was in office. Now, funny enough, you know the scheme, how it runs. They have the HMOs. And if you go through the history of HMOs, you discover that the HMOs that were beneficiary to the scheme, let's say the ones that are supposed to power the scheme alongside the government, they were powerful people. Some of them were even sitting politicians in the National Assembly that owned the HMOs. And the HMOs are the health maintenance organizations that are in charge of the hospitals that are actually responsible for doling out the health services to the beneficiaries. Now, what it means is that he was actually left between the governments that are actually eating from the contributions of the beneficiaries and also the cabals that were or that are the direct owners of this particular organizations called HMOs. So it was actually a business as usual. And he found himself in the middle fighting this. Now, where am I taking us to? I'm trying to let you see that even then, the Minister of Health, who happens to be the close associate of some of these big names behind the HMOs, they were reaching out to the minister. And as such, the minister was trying to call Professor Usman to order, to control him. And Trump said, no, I came from United States of America. I know what it takes to have a very good health system. There shouldn't be interference from political structures or political power from the presidency or from the minister's office. He objected to that openly, and that was the beginning of his own ordeal that led to him getting suspended in the first place when the minister tried, and the same president brought him back. And the cabal now had to connive again with new board members that were introduced at that point. It was at that moment that Trump had to leave because of the pressure. And that was exactly when this particular charges, these bogus charges we're talking about today, came up. It was with the influence of some of the corrupt elements within the board. I was on the national TV to speak on this based on the investigation we carried out as a civil society organization. So it is not something new. They tried to find something much more better than this. They couldn't find anything against.
So they revisited a dated document, yeah.
All over the news, speaking strongly against what has been going on, especially from the removal of subsidy down to this moment where taxes, tariffs are eating up our lives as citizens.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Wala. You heard him. I saw a quote by Yusuf somewhere. He said if NHIS were a business, it would have been bankrupt because in 12 years, when he assumed office, it could not achieve 10% of the population of Nigeria in covering it. But because of time, I want us to move. Don't you think that some of you, the activists, while trying to justify your case, you now go overboard? For instance, Shore, he went all out to call the IGP illegal. That he is an illegal IGP, when there was actually an amendment to the law establishing the police force to warrant his reappointment. What is your take on this?
Well, there's an adage in my place that if a car is parked, the police cannot find fault. But once the car moves, the police must find fault. Because after inspecting all the relevant documents, the lightings, the brake system and everything, they will come back and say, yes, everything is in order, but the driver was reckless. So he will be charged for reckless driving.
Simply for moving the
If the car is stationary, it cannot have any offense. But once it begins to move, it is easy to find an offense because the driver will be charged for reckless driving. And to a certain reckless driving, is subject to the opinion of the policeman who arrested him. Well, issues that have been investigated, issues that are in court, as a lawyer, I'm aware of the principle of sub judice. And as an advocate of the rule of law, I will always want these things to be investigated and trial done in accordance with our principles of justice. So I don't want to dive into what happened. But I was warned some few months ago that I should try to get gum and seal my mouth. Otherwise, I will also be picked up. So I will not be surprised if today I will be accused of stealing the central bank. And I will be handcuffed.
Because you also served as minister. Your records
That's why I'm saying that a stationary vehicle cannot have an offense. So because I have been in government, it will be very easy to get 1, 2, 3 people to write petition that when he was there, he stole the Central Bank of Nigeria. And of course, I will be arrested. I will need a bigger Bible to join Emefiele in Kuje prison. So these are the tactics of a non-performing government. A government that is performing will welcome criticism. Criticism is the lubricant of democracy because you withdraw the attention of the president. Like, if this government is honest, to deal with the challenges of this country, to fight corruption and insecurity, since the withdrawal of fuel subsidy in 2023, complete withdrawal, Abacha withdrew only just less than 0.5%.
A fraction.
Very good. And a lot of money was generated by the PTF. There were rehabilitation of roads, supply of drugs and deliverables in the hospitals, schools were renovated. With that fraction, we have a complete withdrawal of subsidy. Nobody has accounted for it. I challenge this government. I challenge all those defending this government that the day they will give account for the withdrawal of subsidy, I'm going to seal my mouth and I will join them.
Is that why the Minister of Finance, when he went to the National Assembly to defend the budget and other provisions, when they ask about where is the fuel subsidy money, he now said he wanted them to go into close door sessions. Did you hear anything about that closed door sessions?
No, the minister was only saying that, please, all of us are in this. Let's go behind the cameras and discuss. We know, all of us know what is happening. It's the responsibility, constitutional responsibility of the National Assembly to ask on behalf of Nigerians the account of the withdrawal of fuel subsidy.
And they're supposed to have maybe asked him to disclose it.
Very good. That has not been done. The increase in electricity tariff, have they been able to account for the huge revenues?
Just like what Wala said.
Yes, made from it. And what is the significant improvement in terms of power generation, building of infrastructure in the power sector? Nothing. So this is a government that anybody who demands for account is already a bandit and a terrorist. Meanwhile, the real bandits and terrorists are busy killing Nigerians and abducting people. My appeal to the president is that this country belongs to all of us. We are citizens. We are going nowhere. We're not going to Japan. We will remain in Nigeria. We will continue to support Nigeria because our own contribution is to criticize this government. That's our contribution. To make sure that the government live up to its promises and obligation. And we cannot be cracked down or our lives will be sealed. That's our contribution.
All right. Well, I want you to talk briefly on Mahdi. Of course, we don't want to commit contempt of court, of course. But then the allegations around him, phantom claim that, France wanted to establish a base in Nigeria. It turned out to be a clip that was taken elsewhere and several years back. Don't you think, not all of you, but a number of activists are actually not really in good footing to lay claim to some of these facts, and then they just take them out there and then cause confusion? And that is why the government is accusing him of advancing terrorism and all that. Please say this in 1 minute so that we will open the telephone line. We want some Nigerians to ask 1 or 2 questions. Yes.
I think Mahdi Shehu has been a target right from time. Not because of just that particular video. I followed up very well with him. I know very well that Mahdi has a personal encounter with some of the individuals within the government. And they've been trying to see outside the media, the social media, if they could settle among themselves. And those individuals actually promised to make sure that they deal with him. So I'm bringing this is a privileged information, which I know personally. Now, with that, going by his strong language and his strong stand also on his own manner of doling out information, Mali has reasons to actually put every information out there because he also sourced the information through some individuals or some platforms on WhatsApp. It's not that he sit down to those particular videos and all that. There are lots of content on social media. I think a double check would have seen that situation, but it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say, Mali is a strong voice that whatever he does, whether he shared a video, whether he has not shared a video, just like Comrade is saying, they have served in the government, definitely something is coming after them because they refuse to keep their mouth shut. Mali will never keep his mouth shut, as long for the Mali show that we all know.
All right.
How he dealt with the Buhari regime or how they all met. So it's not new.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you, Wala. Viewers, it is now time to call in using the telephone line that will be displayed on your screen. Please go straight to the phone. We have less than 10 minutes to wrap up. Maybe there will be one or two lucky people who will call, seek clarification, contribute, or ask questions. Thank you very much. Yes, Barrister, I want to take you on a statement just before we came into the studio from the Atiku office, giving answer to Sunday Dare, who was saying that the meeting of politicians, that, you know, politicians, activists, and all that, because we had a number of serious-minded people who met in Abuja last week to chart a course for Nigeria's democracy. But he was accusing them of really not championing democracy, but trying to find a way to undermine this government. But before you answer this, I want to take this call. Hello, welcome to the program.
Good evening, sir.
How are you? This is Mobi Shamaki from Nasarawa. Welcome.
Yeah, Shamaki from
Okay, I'm giving you just 30 seconds, Shamaki, to say what you have.
Okay,
yes.
Good evening, Solomon Dalung.
Good evening, and how are you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm calling you constituents by electing Nigerians. Thank you for that. God bless you. 2027, nobody will be told what to do. The communication, the strategy has been taking place by Nigerians already. And I believe with all what's going on, people already are into it. And I believe 2027, we want change. Because this is not what we want from this government. We brought them to bring what a common man can be able to have on the table. People cannot see on the table. So the situation is hypothetical and unfortunate. May God bless Trust TV. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shamaki. You heard Shamaki. He spoke along what you said, that Nigerians voted for Tinubu to actually have some succor, but they are yet to get it there. So what will you say about last week's, gathering of eminent Nigerians, including politicians, activists, who said, from all indications, Nigeria's trajectory is going, down?
Well, I don't want to react to statements of veranda boys or people who are carrying bags for politicians over the years. And suddenly, because they find themselves within the political space or power, they now begin to make statements that should be taken seriously. Those meetings have antecedents of political participation in this country. They are politicians. Sunday Dare was a PA to the president on media for many years. He's been carrying his bag all over, and suddenly he became a minister. That does not accord him enough knowledge of understanding of political dynamics. So I don't want to waste my energy on that. But I know as a fact that a lot is going on. And undermining means planning to vote them out of power.
Okay.
And, yeah, you see,
you're taking it from that perspective.
And when you say undermining, you're using the word undermining in democracy. I mean, it's shameful. We are planning how to vote you out. It is allowed. Were you meant to be an emperor to live there forever? You have manifesto. And it is your manifesto that you refuse to follow. Commitment, democratic governance, that we are telling Nigerians to be wary of you. So nobody is planning to undermine, but we are actively working day and night to make sure that they are voted out.
All right. Well, let me have your take. Recently, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, also sounded a word of warning to both Atiku and Amechi, former governor of Rivers State, that their utterances are actually undermining national security. Do you agree with him?
Bello Matawale should understand the position he's occupying is a political approachment. Being a Minister of Defense, privileged to be able to wear the military camouflage, should not overcharge him into behaving like one. Yes, they are exposed, or he is exposed working with the military, and listening to them, hearing their language, their body language, all those confidence should not turn him into a military man overnight. He should remember that most of the individuals he is talking to them is calling them to order, the so-called order. These are his colleagues, these are people that he has sat with, he has dined with, these are people that he has rubbed minds with, these are Democrats when he was there with them. They all call themselves Democrats. Now, because he is over there, he has crossed over to the other side, he is speaking as if he is ready to use a gun or to fire a bullet, which is wrong. We expect Matawale to dwell more on the fighting bandits free and the terrorism across the borders.
All right.
Communities where this crisis is actually eating up the citizens' life.
All right. Thank you very much. I wish we have more time, Ibrahim Wala, for your informed perspective. But definitely we will invite you to continue the conversation. We are just starting. Thank you for joining us via Zoom from Kano. Yeah, we have come to the end of the program, but I'm tempted to ask, what is the way forward now? And don't you think that we have started 2027 in earnest? We should have allowed the government to breathe. Please say this in less than 1 minute. Because
I want to now roll out also to call Matawale and all the despots in government to order that they have a constitutional responsibility to ensure that this country is stable. Let them be involved in putting food and succor on the lives of Nigerians.
Are people also not rushing, starting meeting in midway, not even midway into the administration?
We're even late. We're late. The president went to his swearing in with a poster for 2027. So we are late. I'm even blaming, the elderly ones in politics for starting late. We started very late. And I think they should work very hard because we need to get them out of that place because they don't know what they are doing. But if they change and behave better, not playing pranks with Nigeria, I will be tempted to review what they are doing. But for now, they are giving us the oxygen to work.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Solomon Dalung, former Minister of Youth and Sport, and then an activist in your own right. Thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you very much, and you're welcome.
Yes, and viewers, that's a wrap for today's version of Sunday Politics. Tomorrow is another day for Daily Politics. Join us for an interesting package. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.